I don't talk about the house much anymore. Not because I've forgotten it, God knows I haven't, but because every time I try, people look at me the same way. That careful tilt of the head. The polite concern. The moment when they decide I'm exaggerating, or worse, still not well. So I stop telling the story. But some nights, when I can't sleep, when the silence stretches too thin and starts to feel crowded, I replay it anyway. Every step. Every sound. Every breath that wasn't mine. I suppose this is me telling it one last time. Not for them. For me. I found the listing late at night, scrolling mindlessly, not really looking for anything in particular. Cheap places. Remote places. Houses that didn't ask questions. Black Hollow Road didn't even show up properly on the map. Just a thin gray line curling into a patch of forest like it was trying to hide. The house itself barely had photos, just a few dark, grainy shots that made it look smaller than it probably was. Or maybe lonelier. That should have been my first warning. But grief has a way of dulling instincts. It makes bad ideas feel reasonable. Necessary, even. I told myself I needed space. Quiet. Somewhere I could sit with my thoughts without the constant noise of other people pretending not to pity me. The house promised that. It didn't promise anything else. The drive took longer than expected. The road narrowed as I went, the trees pressing closer, their branches arching overhead until the sky disappeared entirely. By the time I reached the property, dusk had already settled in, staining the world that deep, uneasy blue that never quite feels like night. The house waited at the end of the drive. That's the only word that fits. It didn't loom or threaten. It just waited. A two-story structure hunched slightly forward, like it was listening. The paint had long since peeled away, exposing dark wood beneath, and the windows reflected nothing, not the trees, not the sky, not even me. I sat in the car longer than I needed to. There was a pressure in my chest I couldn't explain. Not fear exactly. More like hesitation. Like standing on the edge of a sentence you're not sure you should finish. Eventually, I got out. The air smelled wrong. Damp, but not fresh. Like soil that hadn't seen sunlight in a long time. Leaves crunched beneath my feet, too loudly in the quiet, and I caught myself holding my breath as I climbed the steps to the porch. The key worked smoothly. Too smoothly. When I pushed the door open, the house greeted me with silence so complete it felt intentional. No settling wood. No distant animal sounds. Nothing. And then, a breath. Slow. Deep. Almost thoughtful. I froze in the doorway, my hand still on the knob, my heart suddenly loud in my ears. I waited for it to come again, telling myself it was just the wind, or my imagination stretching after the long drive. It did come again. From inside the house. Not a sound you hear with your ears, exactly. More like something you feel, deep in your chest. Like standing too close to someone who's breathing steadily in the dark. I stepped inside anyway. Because I didn't know how to turn around yet. I slept downstairs that first night. I told myself it was temporary, just until I got comfortable with the place, but the truth was simpler. The upstairs scared me. Too many doors. Too many places for shadows to gather and decide to stay. I laid out blankets on the couch and left a lamp on. The yellow light barely reached the corners of the room, but it was enough to pretend I was safe. Sleep came in pieces. I dreamed of pressure. Of something heavy resting against my chest, not crushing me, just there. Present. A weight that rose and fell slowly, rhythmically. When I woke, my throat was sore. And the house was breathing. Not loudly. Not aggressively. Just enough that I couldn't ignore it. The walls expanded slightly with each inhale, contracting again on the exhale. The sound was everywhere and nowhere at once. I sat up, my heart racing, and whispered into the darkness, "Hello?" The breathing paused. That terrified me more than if it hadn't. I didn't sleep again that night. Daylight made the house look ordinary. That was almost worse. In the sun, it was just an old place. Faded wallpaper. Dust. Scratches on the floor where furniture had once been dragged and removed. The walls were cool to the touch, solid and unmoving. I laughed at myself more than once. Grief messes with perception, I thought. Trauma rewires the brain. You know this. Still, things felt off. Doors I was sure I'd closed stood open when I returned to rooms. Floorboards creaked in patterns that sounded deliberate, like pacing. The mirrors didn't quite match me. My reflection lagged, just enough to make my skin prickle. By the third night, I stopped pretending I didn't hear it. The breathing came every time I drifted toward sleep. Always slow. Always patient. Sometimes, hidden beneath the rhythm, I thought I heard words. Not spoken, shaped. Pressed into the sound itself. My name. On the fourth night, I woke unable to move. There was pressure on my chest again, heavier this time. Not weight. Presence. Something leaning close enough that the air felt thick, damp against my skin. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. The darkness above me felt crowded. A sense of awareness pressed in, not touching, just knowing me, studying me. Then it inhaled. And I remembered everything I'd been trying not to. The accident. The sound of metal folding in on itself. The glass. The way her hand went slack in mine while I begged her to stay. Tears streamed down my face, my body shaking beneath the unseen weight. The moment I screamed her name, the pressure vanished. The house went silent. I spent the rest of the night on the floor, my back against the wall, whispering apologies to no one in particular. Or maybe to the house. I found the journal a few days later. Old leather. Cracked spine. Pages filled edge to edge with careful handwriting that grew more frantic the further I read. The house responds to emotion. It learns. It does not want me to leave. The last entry shook me. The house does not kill. It keeps. That night, I packed my things. I told myself I was leaving in the morning. I didn't make it that far. The breathing was louder than ever. The walls moved. The ceiling rose and fell. Lights flickered in time with a rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. The house wasn't hiding anymore. It showed me memories. Mine. Hers. Every moment I'd buried because I couldn't survive carrying them alone. It didn't want my body. It wanted my pain. And part of me, God help me, wanted to give it what it asked for. Because the house understood. Because it held me when the world had let go. I crawled to the door on shaking arms, screaming her name into the dark. The house recoiled like I'd wounded it. Morning air rushed in. I fell onto the porch, gasping, sobbing, alive. The door closed behind me. Gently. I never went back. But sometimes, late at night, when the silence gets too quiet, I hear it again. That slow, distant breathing. Waiting.